everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Literary Criticism, interpreting text, illuminating ideas. Before we dive into our new interesting topic, let me ask you this question first. How do power, class, and ideology quietly shape the stories we read? And what hidden truths do we uncover when we learn to question them? This question actually leads us to one of the most powerful approaches in understanding literature. Power, class, and ideology. That is what we are going to talk about today. Ladies and gentlemen, our new topic in literary criticism is Marxism and critical theory. First, let's have Marxism. Now, what is Marxism? Marxism as a literary approach is rooted in the ideas of Karl Marx, a philosopher and economist who believed that the society is divided into two main classes: the bourgeoisie, or the ruling class who own wealth and property, and the proletariat, or the working class who depend on selling their labor to survive. Marx argued that the relationship between these two classes is unequal and exploitative, and that this inequality creates conflict. This conflict does not only occur in the economy, but is also reflected in culture, including literature. Therefore, Marx's literary criticism studies how literary works represent issues of power, social inequality, class struggles, and economic conditions. In literary criticism, Marxism encourages us to look at how texts reveal issues of class struggle, oppression, materialism, and ideology. For example, we might ask, how does a story portray the lives of the rich and the poor? Does it challenge or reinforce social hierarchies? And whose perspective dominates the narrative? In simple terms, Marxism believes that literature is not produced in isolation. Instead, it is influenced by real social and economic forces. Literature may either support the values of the ruling class or question and criticize those values. And that is the Marxism. Now, let's move forward to the next theory or to the next approach in literary criticism, which is critical theory. Now, critical theory, this concept grew out of Marx's ideas, but it goes even further. It was developed by Frankfurt School of thinkers such as Theodor Adorno, Marx Horkheimer, and later Jürgen Habermas. Critical theory seeks not only to interpret society, but to change it. It questioned the system of power and ideology that shape people's thought, culture, and everyday life. Critical theory argues that society is shaped not just by economics, but also by culture, media, education, and ideology. This institution can influence how people think, behave, and accept certain social conditions. Unlike traditional theories that focus only on understanding and describing society, critical theory aims to criticize and transform society. In literary criticism, critical theory encourages us to question whose interests are being served, who benefits, and who is marginalized in cultural and literary texts. And with that understanding, let us now explore the key principles of these two critical approaches and how they continue to shape the way we read and interpret literature today. First, let's have the key principles of Marxism. First, let's have the key principle of Marxism, which is class struggle. Marxism teaches that history is shaped by the conflict between different social classes. In literature, we examine how characters from different social backgrounds interact, how power is distributed, and who is oppressed or privileged. Now, the second principles of the Marxism is based on superstructure. Marx stated that the economic base of society influences its superstructure, which include culture, beliefs, and art. This means that literature reflects the economic condition of the time it was created. The way authors write, the themes they choose are often shaped by their society's economic realities. Now, let's have the key principle of ideology. Ideology refers to the set of beliefs promoted by the dominant class in order to maintain its power. In literature, ideology can appear subtly. A story may present the wealthy as more deserving or the poor as inferior, without stating it directly. Marx's criticism identifies and questions these hidden messages. And let's move forward to materialism. Marxism focuses on material or economic condition rather than abstract ideas. Human behavior, motivation, and relationship are shaped by one's social and economic position. In literary texts, characters' decisions often depend on issues like money, survival, or status. Now, let's have the key principle of Marxism, which is alienation. In capitalist societies, workers may feel disconnected from themselves, their labor, and their people because they do not control the result of their work. In literature, alienation often appears in characters who feel lost, powerless, or unfulfilled. Now let's have the last key principle of Marxism, which is social change. Marx believed that class conflict can lead to awareness and eventually social change. Literature may show characters resisting oppression, challenging authority, or seeking liberation. This moment reflects the possibility of transformation in society. And that are the key principles of the Marxism. Now, since we already tackled the key principles of the Marxism, let's delve into the key principles of critical theory. First, let's have critique of power and domination. Critical theory looks at how power is held and maintained in society. It examines how institution, culture, and language can reinforce control. In literature, we look for how stories depict power relationship and whether they expose or normalize domination. Second one is ideology and cultural influence. Critical theory teaches that society is influenced by ideologies, the shared beliefs that shape how people see the world. These ideologies can make harmful systems appear natural or normal. In analyzing literature, we question the beliefs and values the text promotes. Now, the third key principles in critical theory is emancipation and social change. The goal of critical theory is not just to understand society, but to change it. It seeks to empower the individuals to challenge oppression and work toward freedom and equality. In literature, we can see characters or narratives that resist injustice or seek liberation. Now, let's have the fourth key principle in critical theory, which is critique of mass culture and media. Critical theorists argue that mass media and popular culture can shape public thought and behavior. They suggest that media may pacify people, meaning it can distract or control them rather than encourage critical thinking. In literature, we examine how text reflects or resists these cultural influences. Now for the last key principle in critical theory, the reflection and self-awareness. Critical theory emphasizes the importance of being aware of how society shapes our thought. It encourages readers to question assumptions, challenge the status quo, and become socially conscious. And that are the key principles in critical theory. Now to understand it better, let's have the application and theory development of Marxism and critical theory.